Today, on Let's Explore This, we are going to be covering a place. It's not exactly a town, it's more like a museum or attraction. It is, however, listed on many maps as a distinct community. That community, or that attraction, to be discussed on this episode is this right here, the Oconaluftee Indian Village. The story of this place, it goes something like this. But before we do delve into that story, there is something that does need to be said. For this one, folks, there is an admission charge. For an adult, the price is $25. That price constitutes a 30-minute guided tour that starts every 15 minutes. Of course, prices are subject to change. 10 years from now, who knows what it will be? As for right now, though, for 2022, that price, it is $25. But if you want, you don't have to take the guided tour. You can just take the self-guided tour option. Still, though, before we do pass through those gates, let me start by saying this. The information for this episode, it will come from a couple of sources, namely the Encyclopedia article covering the Oconaluftee Indian Village, this article from the North Carolina Department of Natural and Cultural Resources, as well as general information provided via the Cherokee Historical Association's own webpage. Yes, a large part of the footage for this episode, it is going to come from inside the village. This episode, though, it is going to be relatively short, and it will not go into great detail about the features inside the village. That is something you will need to do if you ever do decide to take the tour. But, Cherokee history? A more in-depth discussion of that is more fit for an episode on the town of Cherokee itself. Of course, though, Cherokee history does extend well beyond just that town, so Cherokee history, you are likely to find it being discussed in other areas and even other counties outside of Swain. Now, with that said, we can pass through those gates. Let me just say this. The Cherokee Historical Association is the sponsor of the popular outdoor drama Unto These Hills, which is shown in the town of Cherokee. So, the Board of Trustees of the Cherokee Historical Association, on August 16th of 1950, approved the idea of constructing a replica of an 18th century Cherokee village to depict Cherokee daily life and culture before European contact. The site chosen was 40 wooded acres on the slope of Rattlesnake Mountain near the town of Cherokee. So, this then must be Rattlesnake Mountain. Huh, who would have known? Called Oconaluftee, the recreated village is based on an older Cherokee community known as Eguanotee, meaning by the river. Yes, folks, there is a river in this area, and that river, the one right there, it is the Oconaluftee River. As far as the village goes, though, it goes something like this. An early English explorer, William Bartram, wrote about it in his 1775 journals. Wow, that's a long time ago. Then General Griffith Rutherford's army likely destroyed it during the 1776 campaign against the Cherokee. So the job of creating an accurate replica of the village, that fell to archaeologists and anthropologists of the Solly Institute for Cherokee Research, established by the Board in 1951. The Oconaluftee Indian Village. It was designed to depict life in an 18th century Cherokee community. P. A. Willett supervised the construction of the village, which does feature Cherokee men and women in traditional attire performing ancient rites and providing traditional craft demonstrations. The village also features replica of a seven-sided council house, as well as homes and other structures from the 1700s. Guides in native attire do interpret for visitors the social structure of Cherokee society. And visitors, they are educated about traditional Cherokee beliefs, government and family life, while being shown ancient craft making, such as pottery, weapon making, and canoe building. There is, within the village, a living history section. And the village pathway, it flows directly into what is called the living history section. And there, you can see replicas of Cherokee homes and community structures. Yes, you can go in and explore those replicas. And you might even find reenactors dressed in traditional clothing of the time period. If you do, feel free to ask them questions. Of course, travel at your own pace. The guided tour, if you choose to take it, is said to feature 2 half-hour lectures that are held in both the council house replica and the square grounds. Located at the center of the village, these lectures are said to be fascinating because they teach in-depth lessons about Cherokee culture and history. Lectures are said to alternate every half hour. Of course, none of these times are cut in stone. Lectures and programming could be subject to change. 10 years from now, things can be a bit different. Depending on the day of your visit, though, as of right now, you might be able to attend either a traditional dance show or a time of war reenactment scene in the square grounds. And these shows, they are said to happen twice daily at noon and at 3 p.m. And the shows, they are said to be a highlight of the entire village experience. Again, folks, schedules and programming could be subject to change. And as for me, yeah, I did a self-guided tour in order to avoid a tight crowd, because that's just better for filming an episode. Besides, my tour was done at 12:30. I didn't feel like waiting around until 3 p.m. Upon leaving, or even entering the village, a stop at the Eternal Flame gift shop is always recommended. This shop, it does offer a variety of unique and meaningful souvenirs to commemorate your trip to the village. The shop, it carries products and authentic homemade artwork to accommodate almost any budget. There even is, inside the shop, a donation box, but yes, that kind of does sum up the village. But we are not done just quite yet. You see, a botanical garden and nature trail did become a part of the village in 1954, but folks, we have kind of a problem. I am kind of wondering why this is closed. Maybe it might have something to do with the fact that, well, this village, it is not open on a Sunday. Oops, wrong day. Sorry. I guess if you want to see it, you will have to come up here and take the tour when the facility is open. But I can show you just enough around the trailhead itself to document what needs to be said. So Along the half-mile nature trail of the Botanical Garden are many of the flora of the Smoky Mountains, including rhododendron, mountain laurel, bloodroot, and many more. Each is identified by its botanical and common names and grows in a spot that is well suited to its particular needs. Many of the plants are growing where they were before the garden's inception. Care has been taken to disturb the natural growth as little as possible and to put new species and replacements in their natural habitats. Yes, folks, pathways. They do lead up and around the mossy rocks, through which water so slowly trickles downward. Overall, the village did open to the public in 1952, with Walter Jackson serving as the first manager, and the village, as said a bit earlier, it is located very close to the Mountainside Theater. You know, that theater where Unto These Hills is performed each summer. And by 2000, that's year 2000, total paid attendance at the village, it had topped 6 million. And with that said, yes, that time, it has once again come. You know that time, the time when we must move on to our next destination.